Hello. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thanks. So for this customer showcase session that we have, I have to start with a small quote, I think which best describes the man who's behind this showcase. The quote goes like, the first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be captive of the environment in which you first find yourself. So unless you break the shackles, do something new, you don't discover anything new. And I think this is true for this man, whom I admire very much. And what he's brought is, he's brought a shift in the learning paradigm. So from training, he's talking about enablement. And I think that's where the world needs to go. Extremely proud and to co-create and partner Schneider Electric in a B2B sales enablement academy, which is focused at developing talent of the channel partner workforce, right? I think a tremendous commitment by the company, which is Schneider. And I think it's an honor and privilege to have Mr. Bhagwati Prasad. And I'd like to call on him here. He is the Vice President, Sales Enablement Global for Schneider Electric, based out of Singapore. So he has traveled all the distance. Thank you so much, Bhagwati. And over to you to walk us through the magic that is happening.
For that very fine introduction. So this is going to be a very tough session. We know we've been waiting and tea is outside. So maybe I'm going to request if you can get up from your seats. Maybe let's relax a little bit, stand up. Can we do that? Otherwise, this is going to be a very tough session. So I am a professional like you. So I hope we can relax a little bit. We know how the human mind works. So if that's okay, is that fine? We can do that with a bit of a stretch. That'll get us a bit active. Otherwise, we cannot survive next 15 minutes. All I'll ensure is the session is a bit interactive. Sorry? Good music? No, I don't do that. Do you want to try that? So thanks for that. So it's thanks a lot for that introduction, Vipul. So my name is Bhagwati, and I represent Schneider Electric. So I don't know how many of you know Schneider Electric. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So we heard about companies, and we know how difficult it is, and companies don't last very long. So any guesses how old is Schneider Electric? Guess. 80 years? Okay, that's long. You can go longer. Longer. Schneider Electric is a very old company. So we're going to be touching 200 years very shortly. So we are reaching that stage, a company which has survived so long. We used to make steel. People will not know that. I mean, a lot of those things. So I represent that very fine company. So it's my pleasure. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And a lot of things which were covered since yesterday and today, I think a lot of that you'll see a bit in action. Nothing new, frankly, because a lot of things, a lot of wisdom. We're going to see, we have taken that and started using, and this is where the partnership with NIIT, but also some other partnerships, just to see how things shape out. So a lot of challenges were, I think, spoken about, which we all see as professionals. So I say many times, and I think people said, I'm not into learning and development. I'm into sales enablement. And I call out internally a difference, because generally, training is a cost. Agree? In fact, we have an essential program in Schneider Electric. Every employee has to do that. 4 hours. You know what is the cost to the company? If you do the maths, 100 million euros. No, I call it a cost. It's only an investment if it gets used. You know the difference, and that's not easy. So one of the things I think I've done well is I have cut down the number of hours that people go through the training by half since I took this role. So I've been in sales. That's what I love. I try to drive business, and my single KPI is reducing number of hours that people go through, because we are going to do too much, too many essential trainings and all that. So again, that's where I start always. So good to share with you. Now, of course, our NIIT folks are going to say, you're going to talk about training like this. That doesn't work, but that's what I do. Okay, so a little bit about the division I represent, and AI, we had a lot of discussions. I represent a business which is we called APC. You might have heard the term. secure power, and we do UPSs and all that stuff. For us, AI has three implications. One, definitely what we have been talking, how we can use it as an enabler, do things faster. Second, we use AI in our own offers, which we offer. So many of you might not know, but Reliance Jamnagar refinery runs on systems which are from Schneider Electric, and in industrial systems, having AI has been there for a very, very long time. So just to be this thing, so we have basically a system which replicates a refinery exactly. You can do that for data centers many years. But the third very important one is AI is a huge opportunity for us, because AI is data, data is heat, large data centers. So I want to give you a number. IT is getting more heavy. Many of you would know. So I come from Singapore. I'm based out of Singapore. IT used to take 1% of all the electrical usage a few years back. Singapore is now 12%. 12% of all IT is using the energy, electrical energy. Can you imagine how many times is that? That's disruptive. Of course, for us, it's a huge business. It's a huge opportunity. So three ways we attack that. So that's the division I represent. It's a huge opportunity. So this is where we looked at this whole opportunity. And I think it's all about working levers. And everybody talks about, which one I work on. And everybody would have heard about 4 P's of marketing, right? Everybody knows that? Yeah, so we know that, this one. And there is a 5th P. Anybody wants to talk about the 5th P? We know 4 P's, right? Pace. What else? It's a P, right? People. Come on. We're all here about people. Some talk packaging. I mean, how boring is that? It's people. And there is a 6th P which I talk about, which is partner people. So that's what I'm going to focus on. A lot of companies really, and the vision here was that we wanted, India is large. Coverage is very difficult. There's no way for a company to be able to do all that coverage. And Schneider Electric is very complex. I want to give you the perspective of that complexity. I hope this is okay. The height is okay. You can see that, right? See me? Okay. So the challenge we have is we sell products which are like not even $1. Switch, 10 rupees ka. And then we also have enterprise side where when I started, and if we booked an order of 1 crore, 2 crore, it used to be huge. We have right now, in last 6 months, booked 2 orders of 2 billion each with a B. Now that's huge. That's the kind of scale we're talking. I mean, companies don't reach 2 billion. So that's the kind of scale. So how do you even do that? And that's the reason we are finding that for us, coverage is not going to happen if we only had our own people. And we wanted our partners to be an extended arm. Easy to say. Does it happen? Very difficult. And what we have done is that effort I wanted to showcase here. And we started by saying, in which industry does it really happen? So we have a lot of professionals here. Many of you would be probably trying to do that. Any guesses in which industry? At least our study showed that some industries do it and others don't. Any guesses which industries do it? And we took a lot of help here also, but any thoughts? Where a channel partner is a true extension of the company. Retail, okay, that could be one. Insurance. Agents are the same level as the company. Is that common? So what I'm saying is, there's lip service. Reality, if you ever were trying to do it, would you do it? Again, I think every industry tries. It's difficult. So I would not probably agree on that point. On maybe some companies do it. Any other industry?
We are bringing petroleum retail, channel partner people.
Absolutely. And I think in petroleum retail, probably very interesting things when we look at this. And one industry stands out, which I'll tell you, and then you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Automotive. In automotive, the partner is a true extension of the company. And same probably in your case. And the reason is very different because company probably doesn't even have its own salespeople in that sense. In fact, the arm is really the channel. And second, but there is a core difference. When we looked at that, and we also had some people join from automotive, and of course, NIIT does a lot of work there, and we started looking. But there is a key difference. Your partners are exclusive to you. Is that fair? When you have a Reliance petrol pump or HPCL or ISCL, or it's exclusive. In Schneider Electric case, what we found, the challenge was that our partners are not exclusive to us. They sell multiple solutions, multiple products. So there is competition of the mind. So you're one side, now see the difference. We are saying they're going to be extended arm, but our own employees, also the mind share is never complete, which we know is the challenge, right? People are carrying 3 hats, they're thinking about family and all, but still they are working for us. Can you imagine working with a partner who is double timing and triple timing, if I have to use the word? So that's the challenge where we started, and we said, how are we going to attack that? And we wanted to take it to the next level. Not easy to resolve, but we tried to do a few things. So a couple of frameworks we started, because good to look at automotive, good to look at your industry, but how do you bring it in where we don't have? So we did some slicing, dicing. We looked at India market for our business. We said, how many people would we need to cover the market for our business? I think that was a starting point, which is the whole strategy. If we have to cover India well, how many people would we need? And how many does Schneider Electric have? Let's say we have X, and I'm not going to tell you the exact numbers, but you get it. How many more do I need? And I think that's where the whole thing started, and then I think we want to upskill them. I hope it moves. So, very busy slide. We also took some key learnings that we have had. So all of you have a lot of budgets. So learning ROI, we were talking about effectiveness, we were talking about. If you took your budgets, how much of it goes into content creation? If you took your budget of, let's say, 10 million, 1 million, 10 crore, whatever, how much of it is into content creation? Any thoughts?
It depends whether if it is IIT, not much, because they're doing at least.
Yeah, okay.
If it's WBT, then it's pretty.
Okay. And how much of your spend is on the sessions? The actual sessions? 80%? 50%? Okay. So we found that in our case, it was entirely focused on the moment, which was the session. And we were spending a lot of effort. And the reality is, we know most trainings are a waste because they don't get used. So one thing we had learned was that if we have to really put our money where it really matters, we know the post part is most important. But hardly anybody has put budget there. We understand the importance, we understand the coaching importance and all that. So what we took is, we took that one and we incorporated. So what you see is on the screen is pre-training, very critical. 30% time was spent on gathering the needs. And these are not our employees. So how do you know even data? So challenge was, we had to go back and do 6 times assessment of their needs. Because more we asked, we realized we know a little bit less. तो ऐसे वाली बात है ना कि वो जिस पेड़ पे फल लगते हैं वो झुकता जाता है. Because you start realizing what you don't know. So that is a big problem. So pre-training, a lot of work happened, we did that. You see the during training, the one where the most money goes, we basically didn't spend too much. That's 20%. So that's where the difference is. So we're saying training actually doesn't even matter. Because this whole thing is enablement. The actual time on the course is not the one which is important. And then you see 50% post-training. So that's where we did that. A lot of things are there. I'll not go into this. So, a couple of other things. Of course, since morning we have been talking about, and I think this methodology, maybe you know, knowledge, skills, methodology. And we realized sales function is, we've been talking a lot about IT, which is one, but the moment we talk about sales, how much of it is science and how much is art? Question, right? So difficult to define. How do you measure success? All the challenges that we have been talking, very difficult. And we realized to succeed, knowledge actually matters very little. And knowledge is infinite. And knowledge is going to be, Google Baba is giving us for free. Whereas, what trainings cover mainly? Knowledge? For sales, not important. What matters is skills and methodology and attitude, which we don't cover. So what we did is we brought in that. Other thing very important, and I would like you to check, and we went to our partners and said, we have been doing certification for a very long time. How do you measure the value of certification? So we went to them and said, I think this came in the earlier, this thing. So we asked them, apna resume dikhao. These are employees of the partner. And kuch ne kaha, hamare paas to hai hi nahi. But the ones who brought, guess how many of them had any mention of any Schneider Electric training on their resume? Zero. What does it tell you? Do you think resume is a good measure of value as seen by the trainee? If you value something, you'll put it on resume, right? I mean, we can pat on our back. We have been doing trainings for our partners. But if they don't put it on their resume, what does it tell you? There is no value. I mean, this was, I mean, like, हम तो सारी training कर रहे हैं, certification कर रहे हैं, and everybody goes back in our industry and says CCNA, Microsoft and all, nothing Schneider. Like, what's going on? There is no value, and I think that was the challenge. And how do you put that value? And that's where we said, we're going to take this, and we're going to tie up with the best. We're not going to do, generally what happens is, when we talk about our own people, we try and give the best. फिर partner के लिए, or when we say partner, what do we mean? Partner का owner. Agree? He gets wined, dined and all, but not the employees. Huh? Employees का नाम भी नहीं पता होता है पेट्रोल पंप वाले के, owner का पता रहेगा, right? So that's a big difference. When we think partner, what do we think? Partner का owner, not employees. So we changed that and we said, where are we going to go? We are going to go to, in India, probably from a learning angle, worldwide, one brand stands out, which is IIT Bombay. Agree? मेरा 2 यूनिवर्सिटी से गोल्ड मेडल है, लेकिन IIT का कोर्स JEE क्लियर नहीं हुआ था. So that's it. We heard a few people saying IIT Kharagpur and all. So the joke in the industry is, you can try for IIT Bombay. If you don't get there, you try IIT Delhi. वो नहीं हो तो फिर MIT कर लो. I mean, out of the top 50 JEE, 47 went there last time, 2 in Delhi, and I think 1 was Chennai. That's it. So we said, no, we are not going to compromise. We are going to take help from a branding angle of IIT Bombay, because there is nothing like IIT Bombay. So what we did is we put together the best team we had, which is NIIT, Schneider, and IIT Bombay together. And we said, we are going to take them on a 3-year journey for the people. And we are going to try, because what we are saying is they should, where they are, they should become like Schneider Electric internal employee level. And we think 3 years is a good period. Plus it will bring retention and so on. So what I'm happy to report is a lot of good methodologies. We asked them a lot of feedback and all that. And we started moving on this. So this is how it looks like. What we realized is a lot of knowledge sharing happens, a lot of product trainings happen, a lot of technical trainings happen. But what is needed is a comprehensive, not only technical, but sales competency, coaching on the job skills. So what we are covering is roughly 210 hours over those 3 years, which is like an executive MBA, if I have to use the word. It has a good management mix and all that. And this is really about changing the mindset, actually. So this is where IIT Bombay makes a huge difference. There is an aspirational value to get there. I don't know how many of, I mean, probably you're very senior, you might get a lot. In general, you can't enter IIT Bombay. आपको अंदर भी नहीं जाने देगा कोई. Employees of the partner, not the owner.
They will stick for 3 years at least for you.
Yeah, so this course is 3 years. This is not a 3-year inside there. So they go visit. I mean, we're talking about, so they go in 3 times for 1 week each. The idea is they learn the skill, they learn the products, so products get covered by us. Overall framework, of course, we work together with NIIT, sales competencies, NIIT, management school of IIT Bombay, engineering of IIT Bombay. So I'll give you that example, what it does and why that academia is very important. And we heard it from Mr. Deshpande also. So we sell a lot of cooling, right? So cooling, of course, we have products. But we had from IIT Bombay, Professor Rane come in and speak. And many of you may not know, but Professor Rane holds 28 patents on cooling. Probably the best in the world, in India for sure. 28 patents, and 21 of them are actually products in the market which have been commercialized. So he explains the technology. Then we talk about how we used in Schneider Electric. And the guy in the channel who's never sold this and says, अगर मेरे customer ने पूछा ना तो मैं बोलूँगा Professor Rane से बात कर लो. I mean, that's the confidence, that's the change which happens when you have academia who talks the theory, who talks the underlying theory, then we talk the product, the application, and then of course it goes there. So I think that's the process we started, and we went through this. And what I can share is we started measuring, a lot of processes were put up. Coaching, very interesting angle we'll talk about. So typically what we did is, so we took 2 cohorts there, cohort size of around 35, next one was 40, so let's say 75 people. And there are 6 full-time coaches working with them, this is in addition to who is supposed to work with them? Our channel account manager, right? Plus their original manager. Do you think managers do coaching? I mean, that's a challenge. See, we know effectiveness is through coaching, but managers to quota wale hai na, sare sales wale to. See, asli problem to वहाँ है, and then that is the transformation we are talking. So we had taken additional coaches who are only going and asking one thing: what did you do? Did you apply this skill? So we added this layer on top so that the managers start seeing. So there is a transformation in the managers, which we didn't try and say कि आपको करना चाहिए. We started doing, so they started coming in. Our partner account managers. So I don't like the word use the word transformation. It's like surgery. Transformations fail. I mean, surgeries are not good. I mean, you don't do. I mean, we are a very successful company. Our stock price is 220 euros. Things are not broken. Why would we talk surgery? But the reality is, it became almost transformational, touching everything. So this is the kind of success, and now we are at a 1-year period there. But example, there is a framework, speed, which we call as start right, of course, working with NIIT, probing, and so on. And you can see how the skills have moved up. But dhande ki baat asli. Out of that group of 35, the first 35, and in fact we call them Super 30. Super 35, you remember? So that's the whole idea. So the big vision is we treat them like Super 30. I hope everybody knows the story. So idea is every one of them should succeed. So as we stand, 9 of them have started selling solutions which they had never sold before. And I'm not talking about a little bit incremental. The normal business increase will happen anyway. And the whole challenge in the industry is that the moment we say increase, you'll say market to वैसे ही बढ़ रही है इंडिया में. 12-15% तो वैसे ही business बढ़ जाता है. So how do you separate? In fact, some people say in selling skills, you cannot measure improvement due to training because it's a multi-factor analysis. How do you separate that factor? Never been done ever. But you talk about new solutions, I think that's an area. So we have those results, and of course you can see on the framework and so on. So what we are finding is process improvements, stickiness, of course, because they are getting a tri-party certificate from Schneider Electric, NIIT and IIT Bombay. They are going to stay back. The challenge is what happens after that 2.5, 3 years, because half of them might leave, which is something we'll need to work on. But this is what we're working with a big goal that eventually, of course, this is a global program and we're trying to do in multiple places. The idea is that we should have 2x the number of people internally. 2x should be the partners. And they are, let's say 20% of them are actually better than the people we have at Schneider Electric. So that's what we have been taking on. I just wanted to share. I thought maybe of value to you. And so thanks. Happy to take questions. But yeah, back to you. Sorry, I took all the time here.
Could get a lot of ideas which we can implement because we are from auto. So we are from automotive business.
Automotive, yeah.
So yes, primarily we share same issues. But yes, the core thing you said, you selected people to put up to that course for 3-year journey. And I see a great benefit in terms of maybe people are retained, maybe the mind shares have been bought by Schneider Electric and they're talking about the solutions. So they kind of feel like it's my own company. But how did you choose those people? Because there could be n number of people are there.
Yeah. So very, very, very good point. And again, I think we could have looked at productivity. We could have looked at many things. But for us, the challenge, remember, was our partners are not exclusive to us. Not from a competition angle, but a mind share. So a lot of them, let's say system integrators, they'll be selling a server, they might be selling some networking, and then UPSs and cooling comes along. So some of them only spend 2% of their time on our solutions. What we said is, we started defining something known as a wide person and a deep person. So wide person is anybody can sell Schneider Electric, and we said, if the person just sells it, we'll give them the training, and there are a lot of new technologies available. But the deep person is somebody who wakes up every day and thinks about Schneider Electric. So we use time as a measure of how much effort he will put in. So there are people, we were surprised because he's focused on our solutions, probably spends full week with us. So he's like our employee, what is the difference? So minimum we said 50%. So somebody, that's a starting point. And then we looked at a few other things. But yes, this was very targeted. We said only if somebody's life and career depends on Schneider Electric, we'll take them through this. This is not for somebody who does that. So that's one. The number two is we also sliced and diced based on, we also have partners who are very large companies. So think about Dell is our partner too. But Dell has its own philosophy of learning and development, and they may not like to go through this kind of a program. We looked at our partners, which are small, medium businesses. That's what Mr. Deshpande was talking about. They don't have methodology. They don't have availability of access to these kind of tools, CRM and all that. So I think that was the other method we looked at. Who would really get value out of this? And I think these were the two very high level we had to look at.
Yeah. So sorry, one more, and I'll carry forward. So the other problem which I foresee here is why the partner would allow you, because when the guy get qualified, certainly he will demand more salary and more perks, and may not be retained by the partner. So that's, I think, I would like to get answer for.
So very interesting, and I think one good thing is any project like this, one must be skeptical. Like we are on AI to some extent, because I think we shouldn't start we have a hypothesis, but the reality is it may or may not work. So we also gathered their salary data. Some of the data that we gathered may not meet GDPR requirements. So India, it's okay probably, but some other countries you can't ask. We ask questions which you're not supposed to ask. Let's put, ghar hai ki nahi hai? I mean, those kind of things and all that. So we realized that over time, the kind of people they've been hiring, our partners have been hiring, are not at the right skills. And that started putting pressure on how they sell. It's reflecting in price up because they don't sell value. Now, partners are not able, I mean, it's like you can't sell enough, you can't get margins, the partner hires worse. So I think we've gone into a negative spiral. So when we started interacting suddenly, and then the other concept we talked about is which we covered a lot in management school, was hunter versus farmer. So one challenge, I don't know how many of you are facing, but successful companies would face more than the less successful ones. Schneider Electric being very successful. We are a company of very good in farming. We retain our customers well, but same customers. I have done hunting, and hunter gets killed. It's not easy. Because when I started in 94, 93, I went up and down the whole Nariman Point, एक building उस time पे और draw करता था, और उस time पे ICICI Bank, 20th Century Finance और खुले, हर एक में knock करके, वो भगा देते थे वो. और वो कंज्यूमर साइड है तो कुत्ते भी पीछे लगाते हैं. तो I mean, you know that. So बड़ी मुश्किल वाली बात है सारी. So when these people started hunting, now this is where it is. First time when we had to get those 35 names, it was difficult. But for the next cohort, I told you it's actually 44 people. And here is the best part. A lot of these companies are those 15, 20 crore company. At least 15 of them came back and said, मेरे बेटे को भी लेके जाओ. So one of the challenge which a lot of entrepreneurs are facing is the next generation doesn't want to join their business. So they are seeing this opportunity to create attractiveness in their kids' mind. When an entrepreneur, a partner says, मेरे बच्चे को लेके जाओ, that means the value is being seen. Now this is not a question. Of course, the challenge is, yes, you can lose this thing. But I always say, ये तो same है ना, आप बच्चे को US में भेजो, chances है वो वापस नहीं आएगा. That doesn't mean we don't send into the US, right? So this is not a reason to not do it. Yes, we'll handle that when it comes. But it's a good point. The productivity is improved. And in some cases, 50, 60%. So do you think a partner will be okay to pay them a bit more? 60% last year? Now how much of that is because India is growing? Who knows? But when it's 60%, it's easy to split. If the growth is 5%, then you're fighting with me and saying, आप बोल रहे मेरे 4%, मेरे 2%. 60 में आधे-आधे कर लेते हैं ना, क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? You get my point? So I think those are the results we are seeing.
Yeah. And just to add to that, because what has also happened is the reverse thing. The partners are now approaching us and saying, can you train my other guys also who are working with other OEMs? Because these are all system integrators. Schneider is only one product they use. So that's also happening. And of course, the challenge going forward now is, which most of the times we are racking our brains on, is how do we scale it up? Because we have many geographies to cover. So Middle East, we are launching most probably in May. But then we have to take it across. And I think that's the challenge that we have as to how do we take it across.
So, no. So I think on challenges, how would we scale is one. But I think there's a lot of discussion on effectiveness versus efficiency during last 2 weeks. And I always believe effectiveness first, efficiency second. why digital failed in many companies was because, especially in learning and development, was because it's easy to organize trainings into digital sessions and send it to everybody. Everybody did that. Who likes that? We know the learning is best when it is slow. We know the learning is best when it's in learning of one. Each individual, remember that pyramid? The top was what? Learning of one. I'm a human being. Treat me like a human. And I think that's where we want to go. So what we are banking on is, frankly, we know what works now. We know what it works. The challenge is it's too expensive, takes too much effort, too much time. And this is where we are going to bank on AI seriously. And I want to really share, IPL is going on. India is a country of cricket. So best example I can think about is the coaching. And anybody remembers 1998, Australian team was going to come to India, and Tendulkar knew it, and Shane Warne was at his peak of his powers. And he said, Lakshman Shiva Ramakrishnan, you come and you ball to me, and you ball in those rough, anybody remembers that? Anybody follows cricket would know that. Sachin, so-called god of cricket, had to still practice. So that's number one. Doesn't matter how good you are, you still need to improve your skills. But second, you need a very specialized person to do that. You can't call a fast bowler and practice that. It's very specialized skill, and you have to do micro skill. Challenge is Lakshman Shiva Ramakrishnan available? Would he work for you? Can you afford? Can you get? What I personally believe is AI is going to make Lakshman Shiva Ramakrishnan available to every learner on demand at a reasonable cost. So we are really going to depend on AI, and we are going to look at the NIIT partnership to really make that happen. But any questions?
No, I think we're up for time as well. But thank you so much, Bhagwati. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Right. Thanks, everyone.